Hello. Sorry about that. It took a while to open up the Unity project. In fact, it is still opening up. Should be open shortly. I had to quit it and open it up again because for some reason in this version of Unity there is a bit of an issue where sometimes if you open up a project, the inspector doesn't work. It's some UI errors in the Unity editor. Maybe when I update to the newest Unity version, maybe that'll be fixed, but that's still an issue in this version. So I've had to close it and open it up a couple of times, and it is still opening up. So we'll see. Right, so hello everyone. How is everyone today? I want to originally start with the lights off because it was brighter, but now that 11 minutes have passed since I wanted to originally start, it's gotten so dark that it doesn't really matter. It looks better with the lights on. Right, so hello Kangafango, distant trumpets. Yes, how do you know? And then a nice pattern of underscores, dots, and then bigger, well, periods, then dots, and then small circles, or O's, as they might sometimes be called. Maybe those are those. And then, hello, Mr. W. Hey, yes. Ooh. Then the pattern again. Hey. And then the same thing with the A's, I think. Starting soon. Ooh. Ah, hello. Hey, distant crumpets. Distant crumpets? Who's ever heard of such a thing? Stream title, doing some things in Unity. Just, yeah, good thanks, looking forward to this. Great. Right. Yeah, I know, they're not yet, but they will be, Okay. Still opening up, by the way. Speaking of brass instruments, has anyone here seen the video of a guy on a motorbike with a trombone? I have not. Oh? Undertale? I have no idea. Okay, hold on. That should all be okay. Hold on, I'll just quickly show you what I mean. So if I switch over like this, you can see I've got Unity open. You can see if I click on objects here or in the project view, you can see the inspector just isn't updating. If I click on the inspector, there's just nothing here. So now I'll have to close the project, then reopen it, and then see if that'll work. Usually it's okay the second time I try it, but for some reason this time just isn't really working. What? No. I think one of the endings include that in the ending. Probably wrong then. What is it? There are two guys on a motorcycle, and one of them is making a motorcycle-like noise, but with the trombone. I have no idea. I have not seen that. Chase, that is bizarre. Are you on the latest Unity build? Well, no, as I said before, I'm not. I said it might be fixed if when I update, but I want to release Living Art first, in case there are any issues of conversion or things like that, which would then be an issue with that. So, right. All right, I haven't seen that. No, is it any good? Oh yes, true. Shed Ice. It's quite genius, I'd say. It's one of the ones often used in try not to laugh challenges. Huh. I'd say it's one of the ones often used. All right. Still opening up. Oh, there it is. Hold on. Give it a moment. No. And it's taking a while to open up the windows. You know how the different windows come up? It's taking a while to do that. I wonder... I'm gonna give it another go. And then I'll see if I can... If maybe restarting might help. Because I've noticed... I've had this... I've noticed some significant sluggishness in quite a few applications. When I was working on my other Unity project today, I noticed quite a significant amount of sluggishness there as well. Still opening up. But it's nice out there. It actually really is. Really is, yeah, just out there. You know, there's this very hard, quite brittle substance there. It's transparent to the visible light spectrum, and this allows light from out there to get in here, which allows me to see it, which allows me to recognize that it's quite nice out there. Getting dark, but still quite nice. Right. I have seen a few of those Try Not to Laugh challenge videos, but not a single one of the clips have made me laugh or even get me close to laughing. Alright, let me try this again. Okay, now it is updating the inspector, but it's just really sluggish. Like I click on a thing, and then it's like it updates like half a second to like 2 seconds later. Okay, you know what? I think that because we might do a bit of work in Blender, I don't think it's a great idea to do this. It's been a long time since I've restarted anyway, so I think that is probably the wisest choice. I really hope it doesn't take ages. Sorry about this. I'll read chat and then I'll see. Meh, maybe you're just not into it. I find some of them quite funny, even if it's the laughers laughing that I enjoy. Either the ones making the video are just pretending to find it all funny, or they just have a different taste of humor. Yeah, it depends on the exact clips, but I've never laughed at them. From the ones I've seen, at least. Not seen a lot. To be fair, I think it depends quite a bit on the laugher. That's why I think canned laughter works. Wait, what are we restarting, Charles? The computer. Because I think that for today we might be doing a bit of work in Blender, which I don't really want to do if Unity itself is having a bit of trouble loading up the project, getting all the panels up, and even when it's done, being sluggish. I mean, I could try doing it like this without restarting, but then it might just become so laggy, or it might just crash, and then we could lose work that way, unless I just constantly save. What do you think? Do you think I should restart, or do you think I should try it? I'm gonna give you a moment to say that in chat. Try once, then restart? Okay. Seems reasonable. Right. Yeah, ditto. Ditto, ditto, ditto. I would say. Oh, and so you have. Okay, so it's open. So here we are. Right, so. What we did last time, if I maximize this, come on, there we go. You can see that there's one room in here that, this one specifically, what we did last time is, because I want there to be a room here for where the Terran artifact is stored, because the player will have to go into these mazes to retrieve at what at this time I call Terran artifacts, to then burn in the braziers, to then get the portal to get them to a point where they can then return back home. I want this artifact they need to retrieve from each maze to be in a room which has, it's not just a normal room, but a more fancy room, basically. Whether it has puzzle elements and or interesting architecture or other hindrances, or just fancy design. And the way I've decided to do that, which is what I did last stream, is made it so that there's one room, so that it generates a maze, then it chooses randomly one room, one white pixel, and then replaces that with the room that will house the object, the object. And at this point, it's this one. It is quite easily recognizable. If you look down here, you can see that it has these bits here covering the walls, which you can see just like here. So what I want to do, okay, so I want to say one thing quickly, which is that to accomplish so this game at the moment really needs some of the broader strokes filled in, so the bigger chunks filled in, start working on, so there's a background to do some of the more detailed work. Which the reason why I have done quite a bit of detail work on live streams is because I didn't have the time to work on this project off stream, because to really get to do those big strokes, then you really need to get into the project and commit a certain amount of time to it to really work out some of those bigger parts. And I can't really work on a lot of the mechanics. For example, one of them is putting in ghosts. There's not, the Dark Snatcher is really not a ghost, but to put in ghosts, for example, I need to have the AI working properly. The AI is not working. Yeah, I know, I'll do that. Right, so the AI is really not, it's in the same state that you saw it last time. Well, ish. I did do a little bit of improvements between that. But it's still not in a state that it's working, which means I can't put any of the ghosts in, which means I can't put, it needs at least not within the mazes, which means I can't design anything that relies on that aspect of the game, of there being a threat or basically a threat to the player. So I can't do any work on any of the systems without having the experience of knowing, okay, this is roughly what it'll play like. So I can at the moment really only work on some of the more detailed parts of it. Like, for example, getting the Terran artifact to generate in this room, so that then we'll have completed basic things. So you can go to one of these mazes, you can find a Terran artifact, bring it back up, you can find, otherwise you can complete the maze, well, not the maze, the level, go to the next level, get another one, until you've got enough, so that you can reliably get to the kind of the ending place where you'll be able to return home. Which is a good thing. That's a step in the right direction, which I hope to achieve relatively soon. So, speaking about that, what is the next thing to do? Well, not looking into the architectural the architecture of this room, I guess it's just putting in one of those spawners. We've got a spawnable object for which can spawn the table at the moment. I'll be using the same script to then spawn in the Terran artifact, which in the beginning I think we'll just have it be like a colored cube. I think that'll be a good choice. So let's load the other room. Come on. No, that's the wrong thing. There we go. That's it. Sorry. Right. So the artifact room is still loaded. It's not that laggy here, that's nice. Let's open the prefab. And I've got the random object spawner object, which is denoted by the little orange dot there. Move this up, kind of, let's put this in the center of the room. Just for now, because you can access this room from any direction, which means that it really, okay, so because you can access it from any direction, it kind of has to be accessible from any direction. So for example, if I make this be the front of the room, like you're looking in now, then if you access it from back here, there has to kind of be a little passage going around the outside to lead you into the front of the room, if that makes sense. So that you can, no matter which way around the maze places it, you can always find your way, essentially. So, we can also work with a lot of verticality in these rooms as well. So let's create a new material. Well, actually, blue might work. Yeah, blue works, the blue material I've got. Let's change the scale. Let's do like 0.5, 0.5, 0.5 scale. Let's give the cube a rigid body. So it's got physics. Then let's rename it to... Actually, do I already have a Terran artifact? No, I don't. I have the Terran artifact inventory item. I don't have the thing. There's another thing. Because I didn't have time to properly work on this game for the past couple of weeks. When I start the stream, it's like I have to relearn the stuff. Okay, this is how I said. Okay, that's connected. Oh, right, I get it. Oh, yeah, that little thing. Anyway, right. So, is it artifact or artifact? The British version of it. I think it's with an E. Artifact. Yeah, it is. Okay, so let's put this in other prefabs. So there. And then if I go back into the Roman room, I can add this prefab to the object spawner. Turn artifact, random rotation, sure. Yeah, I did. I said I will. I said I will do that soon. I did get the message. Right. Okay, so now if I go into the game scene, come on. There we go. It should be right down there. You can see the little blue cube spawns in here. So that bit works. I mean, I didn't really expect it not to work. So now let's make it so that if you pick up this little cube, it will add an item of the type of Terran artifact. Although, it is really sluggish. Although it hasn't crashed it. Should we try... Okay, let's keep going for a bit. See if it stays like this, then I'd say it's okay. Let's just read chat a bit. Actually, you know what? I'll turn on those other lights as well, and then I'll read chat. So chat amongst yourselves, but not too much because I'll have to read it all. There you go, that's nice. Right, so... SW, alright, with TV shows, the canned laughter does help make the thing seem funnier, but it also distances the viewers from the plot, always reminding them, oh right, this is a TV show, you're supposed to laugh. Well, yeah, that's true to some point, but at some point you just don't hear it anymore. It just becomes part of the background noise. You don't notice it anymore. It just, you know it's there, but... Like, for example, if you're playing graphically intensive video games, then the computer's fans might come on, and in the beginning, yeah, sure, you hear the racket it's making, but then you just don't notice it anymore after a while. Vaulted ceiling, Paradise. It may have a vaulted ceiling. It depends. I want to have different types of artifact room so that the player doesn't know exactly what they're going to find. These rooms will require different solutions. So, for example, if I implement things like potions, which I'm not saying that I will, but if I do that, then having a potion that makes the character maybe jump higher, for example, might be useful if there's some platforming, and if you can jump higher, you might be able to skip a large part of it, which then makes that easier. So it might be wise if the player plays the game, finds one of these rooms, then they might, it might be good to have one of these potions. Like, a potion that allows me to jump higher. Oh, I'll buy one of those. Because there will be things like vendors or shops, that kind of thing. Not necessarily a shop, but more of a trading system. So you can find entities that are willing to barter for, memory shards, basically. So obtaining one of those potions, keeping it with you, might be a thing, if that is the case. Or then again, there might be a different room which might need some timed buttons. So you maybe need to press buttons in a certain order, but there's a timing thing to it. So pressing the button in this order, you've got this much time. Maybe there's an item you can apply. Maybe something like treacle, perhaps, which is sticky. So if you apply that to the buttons, then they stay pressed for longer. So having that item there might make solving that puzzle a bit easier. But so if it's random, then the player won't know what thing there is. So they kind of have to prepare to be ready for anything, basically, which then means more of the player's resources are used, which then means the player is more incentivized to look for new resources. So, vaulted ceiling, perhaps. Depends on the room. Kangafango, personally, I think it helps it feel more natural, like it's on a stage. That's why I particularly like the Navy Lark, a very old radio show, which was vocally performed in front of an audience, and sometimes the laughter from the audience makes the performers break a little, and that's always fun to watch. True. I get that. Yeah. Ooh, ghosts. Lisa is very excited. Be right back. Sure. Alright. Yeah, with theater it's great. I haven't experienced it myself. You mean you haven't experienced it yourself that people laugh while you're playing a character on a performance on stage? I haven't. That is such a fulfilling experience. Like if you play a character and it's supposed to be kind of funny, and you play it a certain way, then you hear people from the audience laughing, just that moment of you having to wait a moment so that the audience will hear what you're saying because they're laughing. That is such a good moment. That's such a good moment, such a fulfilling moment. I haven't experienced it myself, but I think it'd be great. It'd be a great feeling if the audience laughs at how you play a character. Important thing is, of course, that the actor stays in character, and if they do crack up and start laughing, they should improvise and maybe incorporate that into their role so that they burst into laughter at other random points in the play. But yeah, well, depends on the character, I would say. I think that's not really a general thing you can apply, because with some characters, and depending on the play, it might be better if the player has to laugh, if they just kind of laugh a little bit as the player, and then just it's like, okay, I've laughed a little bit, but no, now I'm back. Now I'm back in the character. Now it continues. We've laughed. That's done. Now here is the story that continues. Although incorporating it into the role could also be a solution. Depends on the piece, depends on the character, the situation, and also, of course, the skill of the performer, I would say. Kangafango. Oh yeah, even in a normal conversation, I personally get such a buzz when I make someone laugh. Yeah, that is true. That is very true. Cube, Shadow Dice. Yes, I know, I've seen it. Miss W, I can imagine. Shadow Dice, nice lighting. Very nice. Looks quite festive, if I do say so myself. Yeah, it's gonna stay up there till Christmas. No, it's probably not. Shadow Dice, laughter becomes part of the background noise. Yeah, but then imagine watching one of these sitcom episodes, but with no canned laughter at all. be so strange when it... Yeah, exactly. There are some of those episodes you can find... From some series you can... I'm sure you can find on YouTube some of them where they've uploaded either an episode or part of an episode without the laugh track, which was added later in post-processing. And it's so weird, because then you see, oh, the character says something, and then there's a little joke, and then they just kind of freeze, and then they continue with the sentence and continue the thing, because the actors know they have to pause, because a laugh track will be played over that part. But if you listen to it without the laugh track, that's really weird. Right. Shadow's laughter becomes part... Right, already read that. Shadow's... Ooh, the vendor. I actually forgot about that from the previous Ghostly Adventure. Shadow's... Oh, right, I see. Shadow's music performance as well, when people clap and cheer. Such a great feeling. That particular experience I have not had yet. Again, this is why people shouldn't be ashamed of enjoying and liking attention. Yeah. There are, of course, healthy amounts of everything, and then there are also amounts of things that can lead to trouble. If there's an unhealthy amount of it. The thing is, too much of a good thing can, not always, but can be a negative thing. If you like attention, if you like being in the center of attention, absolutely fine. That is a perfectly okay thing to enjoy. But if you do it to the point where you take due attention from other people around you to redirect it towards yourself, so you get that feeling, then it starts to negatively impact others, which then, of course, gets to the point where it becomes more of a negative thing. So, but that's really just basics of social interactions. I don't really need to explain them to you, probably. You, who's watching this, it doesn't matter who you are. Well, kind of. It mostly doesn't matter who you are. And by mostly, I mean, as long as you're someone to whom what I've just said applies to, then it doesn't matter who you are. Yeah. Not played that many characters with scenes and such, mostly just voice and songs or choreography. But yeah, that's where I've got the idea from. I've watched a YouTube clip of an episode from some show that usually has a lot of canned laughter. It seems really strange. I've never watched an episode of the show. Shadow's, well, that's not enjoying attention. I'd argue that that's seeking attention, which is two different things. Yes, absolutely true. But don't you naturally seek out the things that you enjoy? So if you enjoy attention, don't you naturally seek out situations in which you would be... Well, people would be paying attention to you? Same thing as if you enjoy making people laugh, yeah? Then wouldn't you naturally seek out those kind of situations? Like, for example, telling lots of jokes, or maybe even doing a bit of stand-up comedy if you feel confident enough. Yeah, I think the show's name was called Victory or something like that. Oh, was it set in some battle or something? Yes, true. Shadow's, well, not necessarily, because when you run the risk of coming across as seeking attention, because then, alright. Well, true, which is why sometimes you think, oh, I shouldn't be seeking this thing. You maybe just stop doing that, because you think other people, either because you know it could harm others, or because you think that other people wouldn't like that. But... well, anyway, I don't really want to get carried away with this, but that's a valid point. Definitely a valid point. Should I set in the modern day, as far as I know? I don't know what it is then. So what to do next? Well, we've already got the item. So if we go over here to inventory items, you can see I've got Terran Artifact here. So let's see. The prefab we've got... you see, this is where I need to piece back together what I've done... I think it was item interactable, right? No, these are things to... right, I see. Inventory items, just the... that's the scriptable object script. Where is it? Oh, well, I'll just look at a different thing. The key had the same thing, didn't it? Should have. Key. That... Oh, maybe it wasn't like that. It must have been part of the player script then, because these objects don't have any scripts attached to them, so it must be... Actually, or was that one not pick-upable? Okay, I'll have a look at the player script. Okay. And this is also another bit of an annoying one, because these, with Sublime Text, it keeps all of the other scripts, like these ones from other projects, all open if you open it the next time. So then I need to close all of these ones from my other project, just so that it isn't cluttered. And then when I switch over to the other project, I have to reopen them all. But that's okay. Right, so where is it? Let's see. Or is it item interactable? No, it shouldn't be. Equip match checks. All right, this is if it's a brazier. Oh, it was. Oh, if the tag was real item. Inventory hit real get component real item. Inventory item. Oh, so that's the. Oh, I see. Interact text. Right, so it should have real item attached to it. Ah, there it is. And that just contains the item which the type that it is. Okay, so let's see. Let's apply that. There it is. Real item. Although why didn't the key have it then? Ah, maybe this one doesn't have. Maybe it's on the. No, it's not on the cube. That's strange. Shouldn't the key have it as well? Maybe I haven't applied it. That could be it. Yeah. Yeah, I just haven't applied it to the prefab yet. That explains it. Right. So let's see. Terran artifact. It needs to have the scriptable object of the Terran artifact, which then theoretically should work. Because if I remember correctly, it just adds the item to the inventory, because it grabs the inventory item from the list, from the component, from the real item script instance, and then it just adds that to the inventory's list of items. Let's have a look. Inventory. Inventory item, current items. And then add item. It gets this. And then current items, that gets added. The weight gets added. Count gets added. There we go here. Right, just to, it calls it inventory.add item, inventory item. An inventory item in this context is being gotten out of the real item instance of the script from our hit transform, which is the thing our array interacts with, which is the item on the ground. Right? It would be very useful if you could confirm or deny this, whether this works or not. Well, just confirm whether it works or not. That should be sufficient. Right. Yes, true. Shard-eyes. Well, not necessarily. Alright. Shard-eyes, exactly. And when it happens naturally, it's amazing. Anyway, let's let him work. Well, maybe. It's the same if you enjoy masonry. You would enjoy it, and you would also seek it if you if you weren't able to do your chiseling and such. True. I see such a specific example. Specific, yes. Let him work. Distant laughter. Ha 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 ha. Oh, ha 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 ha. Miss W. Ah, gem? Red gem? What was that? That was the memory shard. If you remember, hopefully it doesn't lag too much. if you remember, if we go over, hold on, you go over here, you can see that if I equip memory shard, equip, then pay, you can see it drops in there. Did you see that just then? Drop in? That's what that is. Oh, that explains it. Reprefab. But I still don't know what that gem thing was. Oh, those things. So the gem shader does still work. Nice. Yeah, it does. I did. Aww. Lovely. Thanks for showing it off. Oh, you're welcome. So, let's give it a test. I'm going to go over that. Also, I have written my own physics-based first-person controller for another project, the project that I'm mostly working on off stream, the one that's taking up most of the time, development time. And I may use that one for this project as well. I'm just looking around to see if I can find the room, like the artifact room. Because I do want to get a feeling for how long it might take to do that on a map around this size. Oh, I think it might be quite difficult. Might not have... Yeah, I mean, it depends on... I mean, if you think about, you can't just run through here because there are ghosts about, then it might be too large. It might be too difficult to find these things. Unless that's the point. Unless you are only supposed to go in here once you have enough resources to stay down here for a while. On the plus side, it seems to be running a bit smoother now. Not as sluggish as before. Don't use the term laggy, because it wasn't really that laggy. It was more sluggish, like I moved the mouse pointer, mouse cursor, trackball cursor, and it would take a moment, then it would move it. Ah, here we go. Look at that. There's a little cube, and... it doesn't want... Okay, 1 second. Let's see, where is the thing... Okay, the turn artifact is that. It has the script. Maybe it's not got the right tag. Maybe it needs to be... Oh, it needs to be tagged real item, of course. I'll need to change that in prefab. There we go. Now it says pick up Terran artifact. And you can see I can actually kind of knock it about a bit if I want to. Get the angle right. There we go. So now, if I look at my inventory, you can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Terran artifacts, 1 matchbox, and 1 memory shard. If I pick this up, now I've got an additional Terran artifact. So I'm quite happy that I set up the inventory system the way I did, making it this easy to add new stuff. Let's do a bit of chat. Shreddays, hey, it's the spheres from my other game, Only Buried. Maybe. Kangafango, Only Buried sounds so game as a game title. Sounds so game as a game title? Do you mean great as a game title? XD. Shardis, did you say that the location of the memory shard was random within the maze? Well, memory shards, you mean the location of the Terran artifact? Yes. Shardis, maybe after a certain amount of time, have some kind of subtle hint on the directions to take? Well, that is a thing. Maybe. Maybe I'll have an item that you can obtain. Like maybe an item that you can use to kind of like a compass. So you use it and then it points in the direction of the nearest Terran artifact. But every time you use it, it has a chance of breaking. Or maybe it has a chance, or maybe every time you use it, it uses a memory shard. That could be a thing. The room in which the memory shard is placed randomly, like the rest of the tiles. Thought I remembered him saying that. Memory shard is placed randomly. What do you mean? Memory shard is placed randomly. Yeah, I see. Wow, that's grand, Shadow Dice. Who here has done stand-up comedy IRL before? If you didn't, raise your hand. Well, it depends. Stand-up comedy, I haven't. I've done something a little bit similar in some of the drama kind of teamwork stuff. So kind of like that, I guess, a bit. Not raising, not lowering, but kind of like that. Kind of a foggy area. Raise hand. Hand rise. Hand goes sideways. No, hand up. I see, but yes. Ooh, foggy. Yeah, because I'm moving my hands so quickly. Because it's so dark, the camera doesn't pick it up probably, so it looks like it's a bit foggy. I can probably tell. Yeah, true. Okay, so what to do? See, this is the issue. I'm not in the game. So it's like, okay, what to do now? And then, okay, well, how does it work, first of all? But sure. So there is a way now to get Terran artifacts. So actually, let's see if I can. Okay, let's just remove. Delete array element. I'll just remove the Terran artifacts from the player's inventory when they start from the starting items list. Because now the only thing that's holding the player back from getting all of the Terran artifacts to go to the end place is the amount of matchsticks they have to light the portal. Because they need to go at the moment, since there's guaranteed to spawn a Terran artifact inside a inside of a maze, and it's guaranteed to spawn a maze at every level. It means one Terran artifact per level, so it means that they technically don't need any, they technically only need 8 matchsticks, because, like I said previously, when you go through the portal, it will choose one of the 8 braziers randomly, and that will then be the brazier that the portal will lead to. So if you've got 7 normal ones and 1 special one, like one that you've burned a Terran artifact in, there's a 1 in 8 chance of it landing on that one and you going there. So you technically only need 8 matchsticks. But the likelihood is that you will want to find more Terran artifacts, so you have a higher chance of getting to where you want to go without wasting the Terran artifacts that you just burn and then don't end up going there anyways. So for that, the player will need more matchsticks. Now matchsticks, one of the ways of getting them was the Nithok Theater, which I've started modeling a while ago, which is instantly inside that red cube of spoiler protection. But that's not done. So another way, another way that the player might be able to get some is through these ones, the hide shrooms, these guys. But to actually implement those in the game, I would need the AI to work as well, unless they use a completely different AI. And the thing is, this is a thing I could do on stream, but I don't really want to spoil what they do yet. Because if I... Yes, I could do more cosmetic work on them. I could give them a texture, I could rig them, maybe even work on animation on stream, but that's just doing detail work, basically. The actual work that needs to be done first, or should be done first, is to implement their functionality, because for that they don't necessarily need to have animations or things like that. So having them do what they need to do, like walking around, yeah. But that functionality is a thing that I don't really want to spoil for players, because a large part of this game is going to be exploring, finding new things, and I want the world to feel mysterious and unknown, so you can explore it. I want to have the feeling of, you know, what are they called? Irrlichter? Those spirits in German Vögel. One second, let me see if I can find them quickly. I'm not sure which ones. One second. There we go, I found the Wikipedia page. So here you can see Irrlicht, this is the German one, which are kind of these blue lights. This is not an actual one, this is an artist's rendition of what one might look like. It's not a real one. The thing is, these Irrlichter, which is translated means, for Ir means to be lost. So irren, to wander aimlessly, or to wander lost, something like that. And then Licht means light, so wandering lights or things like that. And these appear all over mythologies, for European mythologies, even from other Australian as well, South American as well. These lights that appear over water or bogs or swamps that are these spirits that either try to lead wanderers off of the safe road and into swamps, or sometimes lead them to treasures. But just this mysterious thing about the world. Just looking at this image here, I want this sort of feeling, like it's dark, it's night. I mean, you can just about see you're wandering through the woods, through the wilderness, and you can see something moving over there in the bushes, and you can see this light there. And this is what I've based the gate spirits on, which are the more helpful variant. So these blue lights that just wander around, trying to guide the player towards the gate, towards the player's goal, kind of. And I want this sort of feeling, like I want like fairy tale elements as well. And I don't mean fairy tale elements like in Disney fairies. I mean fairies as in actual fae creatures, so things like from Irish mythology. So, like for example, one interesting thing is the leprechaun. Leprechaun, it's actually loads of different ways of spelling it, but leprechauns, the original idea of that fae creature, and yes, it is a fae creature, a type of fairy, is that he's small man, always a man, quite old, reasonably old, wrinkly, and he's a cobbler, a shoemaker. And his shoes are the best shoes that can be made by anything. The leprechauns are known for making the shoes for all of the other fae folk. And that is what makes them so rich. So they are very, very rich. Because in real life, back then, cobblers, so kind of medieval era, before medieval era, even some aspect, cobblers were actually really a lot of the time quite wealthy, because making shoes is, everybody needs shoes, and the skill to make good shoes is very valuable, which then leads to the thing about them always carrying a purse of gold and putting little gold stashes everywhere. And so that kind of fey creature feeling of that kind of is born from the magic of being in the woods, especially after dark, or kind of when it's kind of twilight, that sort of thing, where you're not quite sure if your eyes are playing tricks on you or not. That's the kind of feeling that I want to achieve. And the Height Room is one of those things. This is not, the Height Room isn't a fairy thing, but that's the thing I've come up with. So, and the thing that the Height Rooms will do is a secret, but aside from that, it's something akin to that, something to that feeling. Like you can meet, imagine a fairy tale, like so, I don't know, Timothy was fascinated by the wood, and Timothy used to go into the woods after dark, against his parents' warnings and wishes. And one night, when he went into the woods, he came across a glade, the moon shining through the clouds, illuminating the scene in a silvery light. When he saw something move in the grass, he couldn't quite see what it was. At first he thought it was maybe a fox or a badger, but no. Then he saw this little plump shape, cap, like a hat. It was a mushroom. It was a mushroom with a face and arms and legs, jumping about, and that sort of feeling, like that general, that's what I want. That's what I want this game to be about, half of the game. The overground part of the game is what I want this to be like. The maze part, I want more to be more creepy, more like the maze part is the thing you have to prepare for by exploring the above ground part, that sort of thing. But to do that, I have to make a lot of those elements off stream, because what makes all of these magical things magical, including these Irrlichter, like this one, for example, maybe there's another picture. No, that's not the right stuff. Here, this is a picture by Hermann Hendrich, drawn 1882, and you can see these spirits. Just looking at this picture, this is the kind of thing that I kind of want. Like the magic of these type of scenarios, the magic of these type of situations is the unknown. You don't know what these things are. You don't know what they do. You just kind of have to be cautious and kind of go in a little bit. Take a few steps further, maybe. And this unknown, that's the important thing, which means I can't really do that on stream, because then, well, the mirrors will be lifted and the smoke will have cleared. Here's another one, Das Irrlicht, by Arnold Böcklin. You can see here in the form of some sort of ghostly figure in the woods, and that. Yeah, so, yeah. Well, anyway, let's read a bit of chat, shall we? Yeah, well, one thing. The thing is, but to do those kind of behavior things, I need to do big chunks behind the screen. Like, for example, working out the AI, working on performance increasing, doing blocking work for the underground areas, finishing some of those tiles, some of those environments, some of those roofs and things like that, to get the basic systems in place so that I can then work on some of these more details. And so far, on stream, I can't work on those big things because there's not enough time, and I can't work on the other mechanics because they can't be shown. I can't show what they do behind. I can't show what do behind it. But then, anyway, so maybe sure. Model Ghost. Also, where will the player be able to get the matchsticks? Well, the player will be able to get the matchsticks, for example, from the Nithok Theatre, which is again, a fey creature inspired thing. Because a lot of these fairy stories, like from Ireland and Germany as well, old Germany, Norse mythology, that sort of thing, is that people meet these fey creatures and either they try to catch them and try to get some sort of gain that way, which in a lot of cases actually the fey creature then tricks them. But in other scenarios, most of the other scenarios is like you go there and the fey creature has some sort of request, something, even if it's just singing a lullaby or asking for a flower or something like that. And then when they do that, then they give them a little reward. Like, for example, in Norse mythology, in the Wild Hunt, the Wild Hunts, where Odin, which actually is the precursor to the Santa Claus thing, where Odin travels across the night sky, mostly in winter and autumn, with his ghostly army. When they see someone who's been good, they will give them small rewards, something like maybe a pine cone or a bit of moss, sometimes gold. On the other side, if they find someone who's been bad, someone who's been acting evil or selfish or things like that, then they might just decide to snatch them and force them to join their ghostly army of fallen warriors in their hunt across the night sky. So you will be able to actually talk with some of the inhabitants of this world, of the game world. And if you say the right things or if you have the right items, then you can get rewards for that. And the Nithok Theatre is one of those things. Or maybe model the Terran artifact. The terrain artifact. Yeah, that's going to be fun. True. Or maybe texture the mushroom guys. Or texture these guys. Yeah, exactly. But yes, Shadoweyes. You could script them, but without saying what they're doing. Well, not really, because I need to test it. I need to script up a thing, see if it works, test it, work on it again, test it again. It's yeah. Irrlichter? Yes. Looks kind of like Burning Phoenix. A Burning Phoenix? Well, switch it to English Wikipedia. Ah, good idea. Will-o'-the-Wisp. That's the word. Will-o'-the-Wisp. Yes. Which, incidentally, the word jack-o'-lantern is another name for Will-o'-the-Wisp. Because Will-o'-the-Wisp actually means Will of the Wisp. Other names include, as it says here, you can see Ignis Fatus, Giddy Flame, as well as, you can see Jack-o'-lantern. There you go, Jack-o'-lantern, which actually means Jack of the Lantern. The lantern part being the glowing floaty light, and Jack being the name for the spirit that carries that floating light. So Jack-o'-lantern, Jack of the Lantern, or yeah. So the lantern belonged to Jack. Fairy's lantern, Hinky Puck, which incidentally, the name Hinky Puck, that is the inspiration for William Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, because one of the fey creature mischievous spirits there is named Puck, which is, I believe I read somewhere that it is inspired by Hinky Puck, which is the name for Will-o'-the-Wisp or Irrlicht. Will-o'-the-Wisp. Yes, so there you go. Maybe there's some more interesting pictures here on this site, which they are very strongly linked to a lot of these kind of things. One of the prevailing theory is that they are actually swamp gases that spontaneously combust, so that rotting, decomposing plant vegetation in swamps releases gases, like, for example, I think methane, carbon dioxide, I'm not sure, carbon dioxide as well, methane mainly, which incidentally burns blue, which is the traditional color associated with will-o'-the-wisps, and that sometimes after rain, when it's warm, or when these gases come out and with significant pressure and heat generate, for example, moss can explode violently when it's spreading its spores, that has been known to cause wildfires because spontaneous combustion, which then could cause these blue lights in swamps, which is an explanation for them, which is, I believe, also listed here. I must mention swamp gases somewhere. There we go. Oxidation of phosphate, diphosphate, and yeah, organic decay. Basically, here, this is basically it. Anyway, so let's read a bit more of the thing that's accumulating there. Right. If someone is irre, it also means that they are insane, bonkers, gone mad. Yeah, but that's irre, not irre. To be irre, to wander aimlessly, to be lost. Yes, Shadais, that'd be right creepy. So will you have bodies of water on the map? I don't know. Shadais, Disney fairies. What was it? Disney Fairies 60. Fake creatures. Yeah, I knew about that leprechaun thing. Good. Shadais, so will your game be entirely set at nighttime or also at dusk dawn like here? Well, it won't just be in this environment. I will have different level types depending on which items you burn. Some of those might very well be set at dawn or dusk, or even some place completely different. Yeah, the Hyde room does look quite fairy tale-like. Yeah, that was the idea behind it. Fae-like? I'd buy that book. Demonic screeching? Oh, did you hear that? Chris, or are you screeching in a demonic way? Oh, also, hello, Chris. Yes, welcome. Hey, Chris. Hey, Shreddice, very ghostly. Shreddice, oh wow, that picture is beautiful. It is. Ooh, embrace the mystique. I am. Shreddice, have you seen Fantasia? You mean the Disney film? Yes, I have. The picture just shown reminds me of the first few scenes of that. Yeah. Oh, V'ger. Hello. With one L to you too. Hey, I have, and yes, you're absolutely right. I've seen it just a few months ago. It was very fascinating, but they did misadvertise it as a Mickey Mouse movie. Yeah, that is true. However, so much time and effort and love went into that film. It is very impressive. Hey, yeah, it's music physicalized into animation. Yeah, I know. Exactly. Shadow's Odin Santa Claus. Yeah. XD. Shadow's Kangfango. Y'all have both heard of Krampus, I assume? Oh, yes, I have. Yeah. Jack of the Lantern. Yeah. Shadow's Hinky Puck? Hinky Punk. Well, yeah. That's where it comes from, Puck. XD. Methane, butane, oil, well gases. Yeah. I was being serious. That's what it was spelled like. Hinky Punk. Shadice said Hinky Puck. Yeah, because the character I think was... I may be misremembering it. It may have been pronounced differently. I can keep going. Ah, right. Well, if you want to, go ahead. The thing is, old oil pictures like this, a lot of them look very brown, and but that's just dirt. That's just, if you scrub the dirt off, the colors become so much more vibrant. If you look at art restorations on YouTube, that is really quite interesting. So, the real question is, what to do now? I guess we could do a bit of work texturing this one. Maybe that's the best thing. Although, the thing is, I'm torn. One thing is that texturing this guy is a little detail. It's like I'm staying on the topic of painting. It's like I'm painting an oil painting, or just painting a painting, and I've only just started doing outlines and blocking in some things with basic colors, and I'm now starting to do little bits of detail work on the grass, putting little ants on there. Whereas there's still so much big blocky work that needs to be done around there that I feel like I'm not getting anywhere with just doing detail work now. Which normally I do all of that other work off stream, But at the moment I'm focusing more on other projects, so I don't have the time. But so I would have to do it on stream to get anywhere with that. But doing it on stream, that's not enough time. Because 2 hours for something like doing AI work is just not enough. It would be boring to watch. It's just me staring at a wall of code, going, okay, why didn't that work? Okay, so we do get to this point because that gets called, and then it passes this variable here, and then why doesn't it do of course, yeah, it has to. Okay, so it finishes the frame first, which means that the variable gets reset before the other function gets called, of course. So instead of, okay, well, we can try doing an invoke then. We do an invoke statement to call the other function, then that should give it a bit more time to reset the variables, which means that it might work. Okay, well, let's try that, and then I spend like 10 minutes rewriting and then trying it, then, okay, well, we got a lot of errors. Let's see, what is this error? Okay, line 422, cannot convert transform to, oh right, I see. Okay, I've got the transform. Oh yeah, I'm passing the transform, whereas actually I need to transform the pass that position. Okay, so let's do transform dot position, and then that should, yes, that's fixed the errors. Okay, now let's try and see if it works. Okay, well, okay, it finds its way around that obstacle if it's a convex shape, but if it's a if it's a concave shape, let's see, let's move that block over there. Okay, well, it's a convex. Okay, well, if it's a concave shape, it doesn't work. It goes around the edge, taking the longest possible way around. That doesn't work. Why is it doing that? And it will just keep going like that for 2 hours. And then, if it keeps going like that for 2 hours, I doubt that'd be interesting to anyone. And I'm not sure that I would get much of anywhere, because then it'd probably take me half an hour to maybe 3/4 of an hour to really get into the coding of it, and then I do a little bit of work, and then it'll be another week's pause working on other games in the same scripting language. So then when I get back to this game, it'll be like, okay, well, what was I doing? I was in the middle of coding something, and now I don't know. Anyway, I'll think about it off stream. So, all right, brown and grimy, yeah. Let's do it. That'd be nice. Torn? Oh. Should I maybe some work on the AI paths? Well, maybe, but that would... We can try it. Painting. Painting a painting of Painton? Not at the moment. Should I? Yeah, let's paint. Gets out case of fake crayons. Swaps it with real crayons. This is oddly convincing. Well, thank you very much. XD, yeah, very convincible. Right, so let's do some painting. Why not? That'll be nice for the stream. No, where was he? Hide shroom. This one I can remove. We need this one. Maybe my computer will crash if I resize this. Hopefully it won't. No, it didn't. Great. So, right, if I remember how to do this, that would also be useful. Well, I need to create a new material. Go into the slot, change it from base color to use a texture, image texture, create a new one. Let's call it hide shroom texture. And let's make, well, I think that actually as a base color, I think black might actually work quite nicely. Let's do that. And then if I go into the, well, actually first I need to unwrap it. So let's do a smart UV project. Should be fine. Going to UV, oh no, texture paint mode. I think this has worked. I think that should be fine. Maybe I can expand it a little bit again, because now the 3D port is quite a bit smaller. Right, so do I want this to be mirrored actually? Do I? Yeah, I think that'll be better. So let's see. Let's save first. And let's make this have a fake user so that'll always get, yeah, so you can see it is working. I can paint on here now. Okay, so let's just give it him. Let's turn the strength down to maybe 0.5. That's too much. Maybe, oops, come on, undo. There we go. 0.25. I think that's probably a good color. And then, yeah, let's just start painting him, I guess. Actually, you know what? No, I need to change the unwrapping of it. So if I do Smart UV project, I can change the island margin a bit. Sorry. Which will basically just give me a bit of water. Yeah. So it will separate the unwrapped faces on here on this map. So there are gaps between them, so that when I paint, it won't overlap weirdly. Although now I have lost the thing. Oh, come on, where was it? Maybe if I go back to texture paint mode. Nope. Where was the... Was it down here somewhere? No. Where did the brush tools go? Okay. Oh, there they are. Huh, strange. I thought I'd looked there before. Anyway, so now we can get started. Although by the looks of... Oh no, I understand why that was... Oh, that's fine. That is... Actually, no, that's not fine. I need to fix that a bit. Because the thing is, if I paint like that, it kind of cuts it off there. So maybe if I turn this over to transparent, would that work better? No, that wouldn't change anything. So I've just got to be certain that I'm painting from the correct angle. Otherwise, it'll create those edges that I don't want, those hard edges. By the way, people in chat, do you like mushrooms? Just in general, just the way they look if you're just walking along a forest path and you see some mushrooms just growing out wildly underneath some autumn foliage or something like that. I think that really adds a lot to the scene, also the smell of them. Especially mixed with the smell of rain. Just so nice. Okay, so as the color of the legs, I think I want something a bit lighter. Nope, that's wrong. See, that is the issue I was talking about, where if I draw onto the edge, it gives me it's cutting it off basically. So it'll give a hard edge, which I don't want. So I do have to kind of zoom in a bit some places. Glad to see that this isn't lagging though. Oops. Clicked on the wrong thing there. Right, so I think that's probably good place, like a good way to do it like that. Let's save it and let's see, what do I want in terms of color here? Maybe something a little bit more reddish. Although is that, yeah, something like that probably, yeah. Although that's too reddish, I think. Something like this maybe. Ah, yeah, that's better. I can always layer these colors on each other as well, so that's not going to be an issue. Yeah, this is great. I think there is a sort of blend tool in this texture paint mode as well. Although they have changed it quite a bit since I last used it properly in old versions of Blender. Yeah, I can already see I will have to retouch the cap a bit because I am accidentally painting over it as I'm working here. Soften. Yeah, there you go. You can see I can soften it. That's what I want. There's also a smear tool, which is very useful. So for example, these hard edges here I can just kind of smear like that. Which is very, very useful. Same thing up here. Not sure if how much of this is being picked up on the stream. Okay, so what does that look like? I think it's an okay start. Actually, mask, how does that work? I don't know. I'm not gonna mess with it. I think this needs a little bit of a stronger yellowy color. Kind of like that. Maybe a little bit more into the red. So like that, and then the nose should definitely be a more red color, I think. Do have to be a bit careful here, not to paint too much on the cap above. Yeah, like that. That looks a bit too red, actually. I'll need to add a little bit more yellow in there. Just a bit up here, like that. Just so it kind of looks more like a root or something like that. Like maybe ginger or something like that. Like a ginger root. And then with the mouth, I think probably the same thing. Although maybe not. We'll see. Now it just looks like lipstick. No. I think the mouth is probably better left alone. Otherwise it just looks like lipstick, like it's wearing lipstick. No. Alright, so let's see. Now as for the eyes, I think that just having them black would give the best effect. Maybe even a bit like this, having it kind of have this black ring all the way around the eye, kind of darkening as you go further in. Ooh, I like that, yes. Ooh. Because I do want to look somewhat creepy. Also, I don't want the legs to look this clean. I want the legs to look a bit more, well, dirty, really. So let's add a bit of kind of grayish, brownish mud. Well, just kind of like that, sort of, ish. Yeah, that's more like what I wanted. So there's a little bit up there. It needs the soften tool a bit to soften this area up, so we don't have those harsh edges there as well. What about the top pattern? I think the top pattern, like the pattern on the cap, could still use a little bit of work. Like maybe just a little bit of white. Because mushrooms often have like these white dots around. But then again, it may end up looking too much like a deer if I do this. Too much. Also, because they're symmetrical, may not be the greatest idea. Is that better? I think, yeah, that's better. That is definitely better. I'm glad that I chose to do this, because it is definitely better. Also, I need to smudge this up a little bit. So just kind of pull this side up just a bit. Make that a more round circle. Now, what about the bottom side? You probably won't ever see this, But still, I think it deserves a little bit of attention. Maybe just graying it out a bit might work. Although, or just darkening it a little bit. Actually, maybe if I do it in strokes like this, that might look nice. Kind of overlaps like that. Because obviously this is where mushrooms have their, I don't know what they're called in English. In German they're called Lamellen, which is where which is where the spores grow and then are released from, because that's actually what the above ground part of the fungus is. It's a method for delivering spores into the wind. With the actual organism, and I do say organism because fungi, mushrooms, are not plants or animals. They're a different type of life form, which we call fungi. So yeah, the actual organism lives underground, which is the mycelium part of it, which actually also connects with other plants and shares resources with trees, like minerals that they need, and in return the trees share some of their resources with the fungi, which it's actually in most cases a very symbiotic relationship, which is quite nice to see in nature and in just human culture as well. If we've got a symbiotic relationship, it's always nice to see, don't you think? Yes, we probably won't ever be able to see this back here, because what's the likelihood that you ever be looking at one of these ones from below? But still, I like making these assets look, well, be done. Don't want them to be half done, namely not doing that area, and then some occasions, oh, well, yeah, that area back there, oh, yeah, we didn't think you'd see it, so, yeah, like that. And there we go. I think that's quite nice. What do you think? I just dawned on me that I haven't read chat in a while. There we go. In a bit of a more natural environment with some basic lighting. I think that looks quite nice. Looks quite natural, don't you think? I should zoom out a bit and then zoom in so it's get a better view. Yeah, it's fine. I've made it so that it's I've given it a fake user, which means it won't get deleted anyway. But I will export it. I haven't forgotten. Does it look fairy tale enough? I think it does. Let's see. I really didn't read that much chat, huh? Alright, there we were. Yes, phew. By the way, you should play The Adventure of the Blue and Ugly Child. Adventura Copilui Albastru, there we go, that's blue. C. Urat. And it's in the making sequel. My name is the face of Zakuska. My name is Fata de Zakuska. What are those games about? Sounds kind of surreal. Oh, I see. Never heard of that. Me neither. If you'd like to post links to those games on my Discord channel, I'd love to have a look at them. Oh, I see. Never heard of that. But you gotta learn Romanian to play the game. Ah, well then, maybe post a link to that as well. Oh, right. Because Codin, the dev, didn't bother to add English dialogue. Ah, I see. So are these creatures mycelial? These ones? Well, they're mushrooms, so they do have a mycelium. Well, they should have a mycelium part to them. Yeah, I love them. Very foresty. Shredder's XD. I don't tend to see mushrooms as I don't go out much. Room. Oh. But I do know that a ring of them is often called a fairy ring and often represents a magical entrance. Yes! That is true. And to this day, these fairy rings in Ireland, these mushroom rings, these fairy rings, are still not paved over. There are some really interesting images of towns, cities, where there is just like a concrete floor of some description, like maybe in a shopping street, yeah? And there's just a little cutout bit of grass with this mushroom ring there, with this fairy ring. Very interesting stuff. Let's actually give you a little bit of a better view. There you go. I think that's a nice view. Maybe give it a little bit more 3D view though. Like that, I think. That should be good. Actually, I need to quickly fix the... not that texture painting. I need to quickly fix a little bit about the lip because there are some strange artifacts there I've just seen. 1 second, I'll be with you shortly. No, that's still very strange. There we go. Just kind of fixing it like that. It's because there's a lot of strange geometry here that I'm not really able to reach that well. Although, saying that, you probably won't be able to see it either, so... yeah, I can see the issues that I'm running into. There we go. I think that's fixed most of that issue. Now there's a little corner up there. Hold on, let me just fix the little corner up there. There we go, that's fixed the little corner up there. Oh, there's a little bit of an issue there. Let me just fix this little bit of an issue there. Okay, let's try smoothing this instead. Like that. There we go. That should add quite a bit of stuff to this. Maybe that should be much better. Right, so. Yeah, alright. Enjoying this a lot, Shreddice. Great. Will he get makeup? Makeup. Ooh, lovely. His hands looked like sunflower seeds, then black stripe. Yeah. Gotta say, this looks very nice. Thank you very much. Looks like his face got covered in tar. XD, that grime. Ooh, this is so good. Grin. Ah, yes, the grin. Do you like it, Mr. W? It adds to the creepiness if he's meant to be creepy. It's his lack of eyes too. Yeah, I mean, he's a mushroom. It would be creepier if he had eyes. Also, he is the wrong word because mushrooms, well, depending on the species, can have, I think, up to 16 different genders, which is interesting. He'll get eyes. Will he? Are you sure? Just not added yet, as far as I know. But yes, I'm not sure there. I think it looks better like this. This so mushroomy. It honestly looks so good. Bit too red. Yeah. Yes. Lipstick. As I said, makeup. XD. Kagafango called it. Oh, that's weird. I guess, but he did get eyes, but yes, it does look creepy. But yeah, you did, Mr. W. King Fango, no, that was you with the makeup. Oh, right, yeah. Where was I? Looks like the sole of a foot on the top of the UV map. Really? Still? Is it still the case, or is it... Oh, you mean on the UV map, so you mean over here. Oh, that! This bit. Yeah, you're right, it does actually with the toes. Actually, you know what? This might actually not be that bad of a thumbnail now that I'm thinking about it. Just sort of like this. Yeah, let's take a screenshot like that. There we go. Right. XD, doesn't it? It does. If it's what I think you mean, then kinda, yeah. Lamels? Is that what the English word for it? I don't know. Ooh, this is a lovely... Yeah, apparently they're gills, shard eyes. They are? Gill, you mean gills as in used to breathe in water? Shard eyes also darken his nostrils. Maybe. Good thing you saved. Please save the UMAP too. Now, well, I've got it's saved here. It's using it in a material. Plus, I've also got fake user selected, so the material, the texture is safe. I will export it, but it's safe. It looks great, but maybe the dots are too blurry. Well, if you look at it closely, then yeah. But if you look at it from a bit further like that, I think it looks good. Well, we can change it later anyway. This isn't necessarily final. Loving the look of him. And maybe the dots are a bit too big too. I think the symmetricism doesn't help either. Yeah, you're right. But then again, it is a symmetrical creature. But it looks good. Yeah, I think the dots are too blurred and maybe they should be different sizes too. Shard Eyes Codrin, the dev, not Codin. Oh, sorry, Codrin. But yes, King Fango, isn't Codin what Shard Eyes is doing right now? Codin, haha. Well, I am kind of, because essentially what I'm doing here, if I'm using this application, Blender, to make this model, I am just using a fancy interface to actually do coding, because the model is saved as code. So is the texture, I think. Well, yeah, it's probably an array of... So although it's actually more complicated if it's using compression. But anyway, not really sure. Anyway, nah, he's reading chat right now, and before he was texturing. But I get the joke. Shard Eyes, aw, that's very cute. Shard Eyes, wow, I didn't know that they left fairy rings. Yeah, they do. Brilliant view, XD. Is that a mustache? No. Talk about soul-staring set of eyes. Oh, you want to talk about them? I personally prefer to look at them. You can see how laggy it gets now if it's full size. Let me just get you a nice little view here as I will continue to read chat. There we go. It's like his mouth is full of ink. Yeah. Much better. Shard Eyes, it's like you wiped his mouth with wiped his mouth with a napkin. There you go, much better without ink around your mouth in it. Int it. It's kind of like that. Shard Eyes, true, but this isn't a mushroom. It looks like a mushroom, but it's not like a real mushroom, I assume. No, it is a real mushroom. It's just like a magical mushroom. And I mean magical mushroom in the sense of it has a face and it can run around. But it is like a fairy tale mushroom. So it is a mushroom. Yeah, that bit. Should I yes, like the thumbnail idea. Like the thumbnail idea. Should I maybe show the underside of him in the thumbnail? The gills? Not sure. Yes, the joke worked. Oh, great. What joke? Should I it's true. It is a symmetrical creature, but birthmarks, for example, aren't mirrored either. Well, yes, but the color of fur on many animals is mirrored. Well, smeg. Should I wiped, not whipped? Yeah, but yes, I did correct myself. Should I a sentient mushroom? Yeah, of course. Interesting how it's so similar to a mushroom in the real world. Should I so is it physically connected to his mushroom pals if it's not through the mycelium network? Well, psychically, sorry, not physically. Psychically, yeah, I know. Maybe it's magic. It's a fey creature. Right, so now let's export the texture. Image. Save as. Should I save it in here or with the other textures? I think probably with the other textures. No, I did save it with a model. So going into the model. There we go. Let's quit Blender. Go in here. Let's see if I should be able to apply the texture here to him. So if I go to Lightroom, it should already have the material. Although this apparently... That's odd. Oh, of course. I need to export it as an FBX because of, well, issues with Unity and things. So, File, Export FBX, Lightroom 1 FBX, Export. There we go. Now you can see it in Unity. It will of course look different with a different lighting. Is it still floating up there somewhere or is it on the ground? It should be on the ground. Ah, look at that. Now if that doesn't look haunting, I don't know what does. Just look at that. Doesn't look as bright here as it did in the other one. Maybe that's the shader thing. One second, let me see if I can change the shader quickly. No, I can't. Okay, let's see if I can create a new material and then creatures, material, hide shroom 1, apply that, put the texture on here and then change it from a standard shader to a legacy diffuse. That should make the colors pop a bit more. There you go. Additionally, the player's light is a bit low, I think. If I increase the height of the player's light, position 0.5, maybe? If I go in... Oh, hello. It spawned me in the... Yeah. That's the same thing that happened the other time, only this time I didn't want it to happen. Right, so if you look here, yeah, that looks better. That looks more like it pops out. It pops. Just about see the nose. You did, yeah. Where is it? There he is. Ah, look at that. That's a little gate spirit. Right, so here you can see standing right there. Imagine just going through the thicket of a forest and then just seeing that thing there and then looking. It looks like a mushroom, doesn't it? Oh, it is a mushroom. Especially with the arms and not sticking out a bit later. But yeah, you can see this already looks much more saturated than it did before. Anyway, right. Just wanna okay, I wanna quickly get a forest to spawn in the middle so I can see, so you can look what it looks like with the ferns and stuff. Ah, there we go. Now where's you can see him there. So you can just see him like this little figure back there. It's kind of in the ferns and things. If you imagine this with more bushes as well, which is what the spheres at the moment represent. And loads more of them. Just kind of walking through here in the middle of the night, and then like just think, oh, there's a thing. Oh, there's a little guy there. Oh, look at that. And then, well, I won't spoil what happens when you come up to him. And that is, look at that. That is the sort of feeling I want. Just the autumn or winter trees and casting shadows and ferns of winds waving back and forth, mysterious structures and just like these fake creatures running around. That's the sort of feeling I want up here, like I said before. But anyway, I think that's about it. The thing is, doing this paint work is necessary. It is a thing. It is progress, of course. But it still feels like I'm painting grass, like tiny little strand of grass, blade of grass, and I've got a whole big broad picture to do. I need to do more with a bigger brush to do broad strokes, and it's not working under a magnifying glass, but it's not quite that exaggerated. Not physically, yes, SD, sure. Oh, we'll get to see it in Unity 3D now? Ooh. Shyness, did you save the model? Of course I did. Oh, yeah, the FX, yeah. Looks quite blurred in Unity. Ah! Oh, I thought he'd be bigger. Bigger? Well, no, he's the same size that the model was before. And I think you had the same reaction back then as well. Spooky. Legacy, diffuse, heart. Yes. Lovely shader. XDDD, it spawned you in there again. Ooh, great work. Aww. Tiny grass strokes on an A2 canvas. Question mark? Similar, yeah. Also, do you want to paint the nostrils darker? No, I didn't at the moment. I didn't. Maybe later. Maybe later. Right. So, actually, a shader that... No, maybe not. Maybe not. That's okay. So, with that, we're actually ending on time. For once, I know. So thank you all very much for watching. This stream will be archived. Sharadice, if you just walk around in the thicket, jumps around running. Yeah, right. So yeah, shoutouts, Kango Fango streams OMSI 2 map development, Trains map development, driving Euro Truck and Train Sim. Bye Mr. W, bye, yes. See you next time for Train Sim and Rollercoaster Tycoon 3. Yes, have a look at his Twitch stuff. Very interesting. Also, if you'd like to have a look at some nice maps in trains that are on the DLS, I would suggest you have a look at Central Europe, as well as Cornish Railways. Both free, obviously, if they're on the DLS, in trains. And yeah, that's it, I guess. Love today's stream and looking forward to tomorrow. Thanks for the lovely stream. Oh, and we're actually ending a minute early. Huh. This stream will be archived. Thank you very much for watching. Yes, and bye. Bye. Foggy hand again. Yes, foggy hand. Great texture right there. Okay. Bye. That was rough, yeah. Bye, indeed.